Afternoon. Let's see what's going on this afternoon. Hopefully, everybody's surviving out there. We're going to do a quick review here in the room and out there for anybody that might be interested. So, first thing I'm going to do is review our ETFs, the SPY, the Qs, DIA, and IWM, and just kind of give you what my perspective is on the technical analysis using Fibonacci, some of my own scripts, and then we'll look for targets to the downside and or where is the best place to be buying puts right now. So on these type of drops, the best place to buy puts is actually when they're pushing up into resistance. If you're trying to buy right at the lows, in most cases you're getting a pop and then you get kind of shaken out, and then you see it continue to fall further. All right, so what I want to do is look at the levels that we already have on the screen. So here on the left, I threw some fibs on here, and what I'm doing is just taking that pivot high up in the upper left, and down here, your pivot low for the day. And I want you to notice that when price pushes to the upside, you're noticing that there's resistance at the 23.6. You can do this across the board anytime you're having a sell-off. Find that pivot high and that pivot low. 23 and 30, the 38.2. These are going to be areas where I would consider in a downtrend where you're going to find the higher probability of selling in that area. Okay, so just know that. So if price on the SPY cannot get over roughly 433.20, then we will continue down. So what do? Between those levels to the upside, stay neutral. And right now, the overall trend is sideways to down. So every time price pops into one of those levels, it serves as the best place to try and get short. Now, you also have to take into consideration how many days have we been down, right? Is this a second or a third day? And have you just been watching? And if you have not been taking or participating in the short, but you're thinking about shorting on the very last day, and again, that's perspective. But if you're trying to short something on the third or fourth day and you've just been watching, usually your probabilities are pretty low that you're actually going to make money out of that short, because a lot of times people who are preparing for the short are the ones that make that money. Okay, so looking down here, we had some shorts on SPY coming into this morning. We added on yesterday's close, so I want to be able to kind of teach you from my mistakes, although I made up to 80% today on those. Those weren't cheap options. These weren't like penny options. These were more like, above $1.60, $2 and so forth. With these specifically, they were I bought them at yesterday's close, and that was a big mistake, honestly. I should have not done that, and I knew that. I should have been adding that this morning on the pop into resistance. Okay, so it worked, but it's not like fun to be, hit on your longs, your net longs, and then see your hedges on a negative. So I had to withstand that, and sometimes that really sucks. So waiting and trying to stay patient is an understatement, right? Your blood pressure starts to rise and things are not that easy. But it did end up working out. But again, the best place, in my opinion, to add puts is when we're pushing into resistance, not when we're pushing down. And yesterday's little sell-off before the end of the day was kind of, hey, we trapped you, right? And we know better. So, all right, now today, again, what's going on right now is you can see that we had this little small pop. We have about 2.5 hours or so before the end of today's session. And as of right now, folks, this 23.6 on 432, this is kind of the high for the day. And then if we take out the low under 430, you can see here, then I would look for a continuation down into the bottom of this automated box. So this is one of my scripts here. So you could see 428.88 or so to the downside. All right. Everything between that for right now is going to be neutral, right? I don't really want to buy puts. I don't want to buy calls yet. until we start to get over those levels to the upside. All right. On the QQQ, I want you to notice one thing that I liked about the Qs is this flush low. A flush low is like, it's typically when you see a reversal in the market. Now this is a smaller time frame, and we did this today because we were having such a sell-off that you want to tighten up your range and stay underneath that cloud, right? So you notice that I have these things on 10 minutes. I typically have them on a 4 hour during the day, but because the sell-off is a bit extreme, I want to tighten up that. Okay, and on the Qs we got a flush low, and typically, like I said, the flush low is letting you know that they took out a bunch of stops, and then they're probably going to head higher from here. So again, just like the SPY, let's go ahead and take a look at that. You're going to see that this is your low, and this is your pivot high. Over here on the SPY, pivot low, pivot high. Okay, same thing over here. Now we are actually taking, looks like we're trying to take that out on the DIA. Okay, and I am short this right now as well, the DIA. Okay, and what I'm looking for is 337.42. It is a 0 DTE trade, so I'm not too worked up on it, but you know, we're just now trying to make that low, and we have this pivot high. All right, and usually what you'll see is a lot of technical traders, they're looking at the same thing, so you will see like a quick move and then usually a pop right back up, you know, and we get that signal that this indeed will start to work after we make that next lower low, and then we could see something like this. Now notice that price has come over here in the SPY at the trendy edge. Okay, and then over here, this is a trendy edge, and over here, this is a trendy edge on the IWM. Now, what I like to see is that all of these synergistically come together, and then we start to find bids. It is a process when we're trying to find a base. This is a 10-minute candle. The levels are the same whether I would have put this on a daily or a weekly. These are the levels that I'm looking for. Now, the process after a big sell-off, it takes a lot of time for investors to get that sentiment back. There's a lot of there's things over our heads right now that a lot of traders are trying to digest. And the bigger picture is people are being cautious, right? But one thing that I do know, at least for myself, is the best opportunities come when the market is fearful. And I'd much rather, just like I was telling you during a short or sideways to down, the best place to be buying puts is on those pops into the resistance. The best place for me to start thinking about really adding into longs is when the rest of the market is fearful and it's coming into my levels. Okay, this is where I want to be looking at adding into positions. So I did start another swing because I like doing that, and I started with Snap today, and I'm slowly adding into that and looking at building that for anywhere from a 1 to 5% position for myself. Okay. So these are the levels. You can see again DIA. See how they do? Just a little flush, and then they come right back to check it. So a lot of technical traders are all looking at the same things. So a lot of times they'll flush you out, pop it again, reset those options, and then you're just you're like, oh, should I just get rid of them? So for me on a 0 DTE, after we already sold the bulk of the protection, then these are just for fun, right? So if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it's okay. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and minimize this. And then you're going to see over here, folks, this is my setup. And so if you guys are joining me, whether in the room or out there on social media, this is a nice little setup that you can use. Over here is my position right now. I'm slowly starting in this, okay? So I only have 4 contracts right now. You can see the PL is on your right-hand side. And, this is Snap. And in this carnage, and really it's not that bad. Listen, it's really not that bad. I mean, you have stocks feel like everything's down, but you look across the board and there's a lot of strong things going on right now. A lot of strong tickers. So a lot of stuff staying green on the day, which really is saying a lot. You can see here that if we come into SNAP, let me go ahead and pull this up really quick. All right, look at this. Trying to make highs on the day. And so far as really obeying our PMZ here, which I really like, you got a buy signal here. So if we start to hold over the 74 level, then I'll probably start adding in again. This is a swing position, but just slowly adding in this morning. And then over here on the left is the daily. Let me go ahead and see if I can make this a little bit bigger for you guys. Just like that. All right. And you can see it came down into the trendy edge. We're finding some value here. This is what we talked about this morning, that this is lower on the curve, and it's been consolidating within this area since July. And you can see the better place to buy is at the lower of the curve of this channel, and the better place to sell is up here towards the top. So right now, we went ahead and took that chance down here at the lower end of this channel, and then we're looking to see if we could trade this up and over this EMA. That will be a big level there at around 76.67. If we get over that, then we should see ourselves right back to 79.80 bucks. Okay. All right, and let's go ahead and look at BA really quick. So what am I doing with BA? We're going to pull that up as well. You can see they are down $5.50 today. I think this is a product of the market. They're just getting hit. Dow Jones is pretty weak. But it is coming right into my add or stop areas. So this was a starter for me. You can see it's just getting, actually this is kind of cool. We're into that level, into that EMA. And so I'd like to see a bounce here. And at the end of the day, if we cannot hold above this, I may find myself on a stop on this starter position here. Okay. And other than that, everything looks, I mean, it looks decent. It's fine. Again, it's just a product. This is, up, pull back into the EMA, find some value here, maybe end up closing up over 221 or so. All right, and my swing account actually green, and a lot of that had to do with hedging this thing on the SPY, so I'm happy about that. And CRM not looking too bad today, up $2. I'm adding into Myrna because at this point, let's go ahead and take a look at that. Actually, we're going to pull up a little bit different charts so you guys can see a little bit better here. Let's go ahead and look at MRNA. And weekly, and I'm going to put this on the daily. Yeah, so there we go. All right. So we're up about $7.67 today. Not a big deal. I think it had actually shot up to about 9-ish. But we are underneath the first 9 EMA here on the weekly. I'd like to see this close this week up and over. So roughly around 386.64. Sorry, 392.85 is where I want to see this push up into before the end of the week. And you can see we're getting some separation here from that gap fill, and that's definitely doable. So I just find it attractive. Now I am buying further out of the money. It can get pretty volatile. It can move. So I'm buying the 500 calls, and I still think that vaccine stocks are very undervalued here. All right, let's take a look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA was looking pretty good this morning. I was in a what I call high risk, low probability trade that kind of hit me yesterday. And unfortunately, on this guy, let's go to reset all this right here. I was doing some education last night, so we're doing a lot of different lines and writing. But what we're looking at here, all right, nice little pull, came down into some levels of support, came into a level of an inside and up formation. Should find some value here. Again, I think what everyone's looking for at this point, if you use an 8 EMA or 9 EMA on your weekly, bulls are looking to see if we can reclaim those maybe by tomorrow into the new quarter. So that those would definitely be on spotlight. We could have a really nice Friday if things at least we get a relief rally going in with some new buying for the quarter. So I'm looking forward to that. If not, then you could see Nvidia pull a little bit further down here towards 200. All right. Anyways, we'll be back a little bit later in the day. Things are looking good. It's not as bad as you thought it would be, right? And I do think that bulls are still very much in control. So don't get the idea that this is in any shape or form that things have to get that much worse. I do think we're getting close. I don't think we're quite there. And like I said, once we get to that support or demand area, sentiment's going to have to, it has to come back into the market. It's not been the easiest year for a lot of traders. So I think if anything happens, people are going to be gun shy. And when that catalyst comes and the market starts to push, most traders, retail traders, are going to be gun shy, deer in the headlights kind of look. It's not going to be easy. So just, my thing is start slowly, try to add on conviction, feel good about what you're doing, and don't beat yourself up if you feel like things are too difficult right now.